surviving, time to be thriving. Let's keep it simple, I'm done with trying. It's all aligning, oh, I can see it now. No more distractions, I'm done reacting. Cause life is short and that's all that happens if you don't show up and claim your power. What if you were built with purpose?
If you're not where your feet are, then what are you doing there? It's so easy in today's world to, be at work thinking about home, be at home thinking about work, and just going in that loop of never really ever being able where your feet are. And, community really just helps set that standard. And I'm glad you said that, because your subconscious mind rules 95% of your reality. And if you don't know what's there or how it got there, you also don't know how it's affecting you. And typically what's been put there is the environments that you've seen, that you've experienced, and you start to think that it's true. You start to think that that's the reality of the situation, that, some things are available to you, other things are not. What's possible? Typically, all of those come from a community.
What is up, Copper family? Thank you so much for being here today. And I am so pumped for this show. As you guys know, those who have watched me on Instagram and all that kind of stuff, I'm really excited for this. I do have a few things that I wanted to go over real quick before we bring Brock on. I just want to make sure that you guys kind of know at the very beginning of this focus of the show, my focus will fully be on Brock. Sharing his experience, his knowledge. So you're probably not going to hear me greet anyone individually like I normally do, but know that I deeply appreciate you for being here. And if you have questions, so this is important. If you have questions, put a Q right there at the beginning of your sentence on the comment, and then I'm going to star it so that when the time comes to ask Brock any questions, when the time's appropriate for him, I will ask those questions for you. And again, for those who are just coming, thank you so much for being here. And just know that as people come in and ask and try to get my attention, know that I can see them. Will you guys just let them know that, hey, I'm just trying to stay present for Brock and stay present so that I can make sure that we ask the right things. But keep doing your thing. Keep talking, keep connecting, keep encouraging each other and being part of the conversation, because this community grows because of you guys. And this space does not exist without you. And it exists so that we can learn, we can feel, and we can apply something real into our lives, because the goal for this and for Copper Johns is growth and not perfection. So guys, I'm so pumped for you guys to kind of meet Brock, to kind of get to know who he is. So Brock, I've been a part of Brock, the category 1, for the past almost year and a half. I've lost 80 pounds with Brock. My mind is stronger because of Brock. But Brock leads this world-renowned brand of Category 1, helping entrepreneurs, athletes, and everyone, every just person to rebuild the way they think, they feel, and they perform. And so, guys, it's my pleasure to kind of introduce a great man. His name is Brock. Here we go.
Awesome.
What's up?
So Brock, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you so much for being here, man.
Yeah, I'm super excited, and I appreciate you thinking of me. When we were having our session a few weeks ago, when we started to brainstorm how we could bring the most value to the Copper Johns family, I was super excited that you thought of me in being a part of that process, and hopefully we can find some value out there today, and hope you guys can learn how to create the mental and physical transformations in your own life, because that's why we're here, is to be able to perform at our best and truly create a life we're proud of.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to give you the floor, and as people ask questions, I'm going to highlight them, and we'll go from there, because I did not prepare any questions for you. I have lots of questions. I ask you questions all the time. But with that being said, I'll give you the floor with what you prepared, and we'll go from there. And do you want me to add your stuff to the stage?
So, can you click through it on your end?
Nope, that's all you.
Okay, perfect. So, well, I'm just going to share some stories with you guys, and I'm hoping that these stories, you guys can pull out some of in your own life how this can affect you. Because I've noticed in my life is if you give yourself the wrong map, inevitably you end up at the wrong destination. And a lot of us go through life just hoping something sticks, hoping something finally works out for us. when we get the money, when we get the girl, when the opportunity presents itself, when the mentor comes in our life. And honestly, I spent so much of my life hoping that one day something was going to work out for me. And I learned some fun lessons along the way. And I hope that from these lessons that helped me, that they can be valuable to you. And by the end of this, I hope you can learn 3 things, if anything. 1, how to be a category of 1 and how to truly understand the uniqueness that you bring to the world and how you can amplify that uniqueness in creating something extraordinary that nobody else can do. 2, how to play to win rather than just to not lose. How to continually drive yourself into a place to where you're not just playing to stay safe and secure, but truly being the person you want to. And then the 3rd one, how to set a standard in your life and how to play to a standard and not just a circumstance. Rather than allowing our circumstances to affect our everyday life, really allowing us to play to the standard that we want to, that makes us feel like we're alive and that we're the person we want to. So, what this looks like is I remember way back when I was a young boy. I got 4 older brothers, okay?
You are cutting out. I don't know if everyone else is hearing the cut out. Maybe it's just me, but you're cutting out.
I'm cutting out. Can you guys
Like
hear me?
you're saying, I only get half the word. Every voice you get half a word.
Interesting. You guys getting it now?
Now you're great. Yeah,
Okay. Let me know, Tyson.
it did.
We're in this together. So I'm excited. But a story I wanted to share was, so I grew up with 4 older brothers, and just so you guys can get a little bit better, I'm the youngest of 5. And being the youngest of 5, I wanted nothing more than to keep up with my older brothers. And that meant doing whatever I needed to fit in order for them to accept and to validate and for me to be a part of it. One of my brothers played D1 football, and I would go to his games and I would watch him hit hard and be very aggressive out on the field. And for me, that meant if he was going to hit hard, I was going to hit hard, even if that meant me getting injured along the way. And I ended up having to quit my junior year of football because I ended up with 10 plus concussions, not being able to play anymore. And that was a common thread throughout my entire life. I remember one time I had another brother. He was really good at dirt biking. And for those of you who know dirt bikes, he rode a 250 and I was on a KX65, so a lot smaller bike, but it was a 2-stroke. And I see him on his 250 and he hits this 65-foot tabletop, just absolutely zooms over the top, lands on the other side. And I thought to myself, well, if he's going to do it, I'm going to do it too. So I get on my helmet, I get on my chest protector, I'm beating my chest. I'm so excited to go out there and try to hit this jump and see if I could do it. But I also was very scared. And a 65-foot tabletop on a KX65 is, not the easiest thing to do, but I was going to try. Now, I go around the berm, I'm zooming. All of a sudden, I hit the power band off the top. I was flying through the air. I felt like I was Superman till I realized I really was. I was about 5 feet above my bike. And here I am flying through the air knowing that I'm going to crash at the bottom. Now, I crash. Obviously, I'm all banged up. My body's scratched. My hips hurt. I felt like I just, been hit by a car. But what I do is I get up and I go over just to tell them what I had just done. And it wasn't uncommon for me to be met on the other end of that with, no, you didn't. That's not you, Brock. You don't do those things. One time in particular, now this one was a little bit harder. My mom wanted me to go to a different middle school. And it was one where I didn't have any friends. It was a bit further away from our house. And I was really nervous. And I remember showing up on the first day and I hadn't talked to anyone almost the entire day. And at the end of the day, I finally saw some 9th graders that I had met from football. And I was so excited. I was like, hey guys, it's me. It's Brock. Hi, friends. I'm so excited. Just to be picked up and thrown in the dumpster my first day. And now teacher comes out and she says, hey, you can't be throwing him into the trash can. And I'm getting out of the trash can, taking all the stuff off me. And I stomp over and I said, hey, don't get mad at them. Those are my friends. Because their validation was more important to me than my own self-respect. And I tell you these stories because I want you to understand just where a lot of my journey came from. I spent so much of my life screaming for other people to notice and to see me that I overlooked a lot of very important moments in my life. And that bled into all the way to when I started my business, which is category of one today. I remember we were about 6 months in and we were really struggling financially. I thought I had the knowledge. I have the neuroscience. I understand psychology. I can make a difference. I'm creating transformations. Why aren't things working out for me? Right? And I was waiting for that someday, for that mentor, for that person to come in and save me and make everything okay. And there was one day in particular, I tried to reach out to this prominent coach here in Utah. I reached out multiple times saying, hey, just jump on a 15-minute call. Cause I was like, he's the one, he's going to solve it. I was like, just give me 15 minutes. He finally says, yes. I get on a call with him. He asked about 3 questions and then talked the rest of the call, only to be met with, Brock, quit what you're doing. I want you to come back when you've done something meaningful.
Mm.
And immediately every insecurity of mine started to come up, right? Because all those moments in my life, whether I was thrown in a trash can or I was thrown on a dirt bike, the thoughts were the same. Why am I not enough? Why can't I figure this out? Why not me? I've tried my whole life. I'm doing everything right. I'm checking every box. Why can't I figure this out? How many of you guys have felt that way before?
Oh, I know I have.
And I want you just to sit there in a minute because that was me. And every insecurity started to get brought up. And I was faced with a choice. Because there was a really important lesson that came from that. And this is the part that I want to share with you. Is when he said, Brock, I want you go quit. That came from his own insecurity. And I have to detach that from my own personality and my own self. But there was something that he said that was great advice. Brock, go do something meaningful. And from that moment, so I call my wife. She is about 6 months or 7 months pregnant at the time with our firstborn son. And I call her and I say, hey, hon, guess what? I'm going to go do something meaningful. I just signed up for a 100-mile ultra marathon. I have 3 months.
It's nuts.
And at this point, guys, and for those of you who don't know me, I've now ran quite a few races, but at this time I hadn't. I was not a runner. I was a strength trainer, and like honestly, I was very average at that. And at the time, I just wanted to go do something meaningful, and so I gave myself 3 months, and I was going to go prepare for an ultra marathon, and run 100 miles. And my wife tells me, "You got my full support." And here's some things that I want to share with you, and I have some fun little slides that I hope you guys can draw some wisdom from. Here's the first.
Let me add it.
Yeah. Can you see it?
Yeah, just perfect.
So here's lesson 1 that I started to realize. My entire life, I was playing just to not lose. I was playing to stay safe. I was letting everybody else set the standard in my life of who I was supposed to be. I allowed my brothers, I allowed my friends, I allowed other coaches and other mentors to tell me who I was supposed to be. And all of that was just to maintain a certain sense of self. And I was just playing to not lose. I had to give myself permission to go win and go be the man that I wanted to be, somebody that I was going to be proud of. When I learned this principle, I was actually with Tyson this night. Funny story. And for those of you who don't know him, his name's Tanner Guzzi. He's a men's fashion coach, and he was holding a men's fashion night.
What's funny is he's going to be on next week.
Yeah, so Tanner's awesome. You're going to learn so much from him. But I remember going to this night, and he said, we have a dress code. I want you to dress nice. And for anyone who knows me, like I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt just about everywhere I go. And so I was thinking about it all day. Like, what am I going to wear? I don't have anything to wear. And then we get there and he's sitting there explaining, he said something really important. Now he looked better than all of us. Like he has great fashion. And he said, I bet every single one of you thought more about your outfit tonight than I did. And he goes, it's because every single one of you is just playing to not lose. And think of how much energy we're exhausting just trying to not lose. Think of how much we have to think. He goes, I didn't even have to consider what I was going to wear tonight because I'm playing to win. There was only one option. And when you start to realize that as you start to truly put yourself out there and risk, it does force a specific path that then allows you to develop and grow. And that's what I learned in that moment, was because I was in a place of just not playing to lose, I had to go play to win. And that first branched me into my first 100-mile ultra marathon. And as I did this, I started training. And now, mind you, my wife is 7 months pregnant. So when I learned this video I'm about to show you guys, it's one of the most meaningful videos I have. It just warms my soul. It's very low quality, so don't judge me. But it means so much because I had spent so much of my life trying to scream for the world to hear me, to notice me. I was just trying to be noticed and recognized and seen for my efforts. But what I didn't realize is what I wasn't allowing my own uniqueness to scream for me, so I could give the time and effort to those who were. Now, this video just shows, so this is 3 days after my wife gave birth to our firstborn son, and I had just ran my very first 50 miler. She had crewed me in a diaper, guys, for the whole 50 miles, giving me food. And this is my mom and my wife cheering me on as I came home. And it was just me out there. There was no accolades, no one else out there.
And that's your mom on the side, right?
That's my mom being a cheerleader. And I want you to realize, guys, for every ounce of energy that I was giving to screaming for the world to hear me, I was taking away from those who matter most. Because every ounce of energy I was just playing to not lose so I could be validated, so I could feel secure. I was a black hole. I was taking from those who were willing to give. And I would just take and take and take. And nothing was ever enough because I wasn't enough. And nothing would ever be enough until I was enough. And so I end up running the 100-mile ultra marathon. Mission accomplished. I did it.
Your freaking legs. I have to comment on your legs. Your freaking legs.
So I finished the 100-mile ultra marathon. I ended up taking 8th place, and I did it in 24 hours, which was something that on that course was extremely, extremely brutal. 2/3 of the course ended up dropping out because of weather and how difficult it was. But, you know, I had such a strong why, and I started to focus on playing to win that it made the miles chip off easily and effortlessly. And that's how it is for you. Now, this is the fruits of what came of that. If you see, that's my little firstborn son. This is my wife, 3 weeks postpartum. And my brother's here cheering me on. They came out and faced me, and it was a moment that I will never forget. And that's what I call an undeniable moment. And here's what I want you guys to recognize is many of you have families, have people who love and care about you. And you're so busy screaming for other people to validate you that we forget those who matter most. But when we go out and we do hard things, I picked this lesson is because if running 100 miles is the hardest thing you do, you miss the point. It's got to come back to those you love. And because I started playing to win and truly going out and pursuing the highest best version of me, I've been able to create an impact that wouldn't have been able to be available otherwise. I've been able to bring back lessons and stories to my son that he now wouldn't have. I've been able to set a standard for my family that they can now lean on when things get hard. I've brought that to a community of men, and I've brought over 30 guys just this last year across the line of a finish line of their first marathon. Guys, when we truly give ourselves the opportunity to thrive, massive fruits start to take place. And this is what started to happen, is the belief is what creates the change. The belief in myself, the belief that it was possible, the belief that I could changed everything. And so from that 100-mile ultra marathon, we started to see massive fruits, and that's what this video is. From the next year, I ended up doing an Ironman, 100. I did a high rocks in Houston, a marathon, 248, and 85 miles on a treadmill. Those all came just from one decision of taking a chance on myself and truly pursuing the highest and best version of me. But it wasn't some circumstantial motivation that made the difference. It was the belief that I was the man who could be. Because so often in our life, and so often in my life, I was trying so hard to act as if I was the guy. I would try to act as if I was enough. I was that fake it till you make it type mentality and just trying to act as if I belonged. But when I switched the question to what if I was the guy? What if I could make this happen? What shift would happen in my life? And that simple belief changed everything for me. So I want you guys to just take a second and write down, what is your what if moment? Rather than trying to act as if you are that person, what would it look like if you already were today? What would you do differently? How would you act? How would you think? And I just want you to take a second and write that down. What if? What is your 100-mile ultra marathon? Now, as I did all these challenges, if you noticed on that last one, I was on a treadmill. And as I was on that treadmill, so basically the way that race is structured, okay, is it's a last man standing race. So you run until you're the last one on the treadmill out of everyone there. And the way the race is structured is you run 5 miles every hour on the hour until you're the last man standing, okay? And
I
it was
remember this.
yeah, it was a brutal race. The treadmill, a lot of people forget because there's not hills and things. They're like, oh, it should be easier, but you impact in the same spot in the same area over and over and over again. And I ended up getting to mile 70. Okay. And I'm sitting in the chair. Here's my wife again. My beautiful wife. So grateful for her. But I'm sitting in this chair at mile 70 and I look at her and my partner and I said, I don't think I can go any further. I said, I think this is it for me. And I wanted to quit. I wanted everything in my body to just let go and go home and just make the pain stop. How many of us have felt like that before? Like we're just seeking relief and we just are so tired and so spent that all we want to do is quit. And we just want to go home. And as I'm sitting in that chair, my wife looks at me in the eyes and she said, Brock, you can be done whenever you want to, but you do not die in this chair. Because blisters will heal, but quitting lasts forever.
Dude, that's powerful.
And so she said, you let the treadmill decide for you when you're going to fall off. You don't get to decide. The treadmill does. I ended up making it a whole 15 miles further than what I thought I was possible. Was I bruised? Like this is from not hitting my feet on anything. This is pure from the inside out swelling because of how much pain I was in. But the body is so much more capable than we like to think. And when we have those people around us cheering us on, so often in our life, we want to quit when things get hard just because it's uncomfortable. But we are so much capable. And now I have a moment in my life that I can now draw confidence and trust in myself for that I will follow through. On that last 85th mile, I fell off the wagon and I completely collapsed on the treadmill. But I did what I said I was going to. And that's something I can always rely on, is that I know I can trust in myself. But so often in my life, I was trusting in others to come in and help me. And that made it so I couldn't trust in myself. But these moments have built confidence in myself that I can. And I know for you, you can too. You don't need to die in the chair. Go out and put yourself in the world where you can evolve, where you can develop, and you can do something meaningful that will truly make an impact to those around you. Because a lot of times the reason that our body starts to scream is because we've disassociated from what really is the language of growth. I remember one time in particular, I was training for my Ironman, and I would ride my bike all the time, but this was peak week, which means the volume of training was really high, and it was something I'd never done before. And I remember one bike in particular, I was out and I was only about 8 miles, which is like nothing for a bike ride, right? And I was so tired. My mind was just barking at me the whole time. Brock, this sucks. Let's go home. You don't even, why are you doing this? What's the point? Right? We've all had those thoughts. And I remember I decided I was going to take a minute and just sit on a bench. And I did. I sat on this bench and I just I had this moment of clarity again. And this moment of clarity said, Brock, this is the moment that you grow. This is the language of growth. And so often if we tap out every time we're uncomfortable or something gets hard or we start to seek relief from life, we're missing the language of growth, and we're also forfeiting the opportunity for us to develop and grow and build and become the man that we're proud of. That's where your power is. Your power is in the development. And as I continued to develop, I started to grow. And I remember there's so many times in our life as we create this relationship with growth, we start to set goals, right? And we want to push ourselves and we're expanding. We get excited. I was so excited after that. I was like, oh, I just want to, go do more. like high performers, I know all of you are typically think it's like, oh, I just want to go out and put myself and grow. And so I remember telling my wife at the beginning of the year, I said, hey, hon, we're going to go to Hawaii. Like if we work really hard this year and we do everything that we're supposed to, I'm going to take you to Hawaii. And she says, yes, that sounds awesome. So we worked really hard. And after my Ironman, we're driving back. This was in October. And I said to her, I go, hon, I don't think we're going to be able to make it to Hawaii. Because we did work hard that year. She had totally earned it and I had earned it. And it was going to be an awesome thing. But I told her, I don't think we're going to be able to go. We don't have the finances. We're busy. I should be working. I want to build my company. I don't think we're going to make it this year. And 4 days after, I got an email from the Hurt 100. Okay. And this race is extremely hard to get into. It is very highly sought after. So many runners sign up for it. They sell out instantly. And so it's like really rare that anyone ever gets in. And I got in. And
but you have to qualify for it too. Like it's tough to qualify.
Yeah, it's a tough race. And I got this email 4 days after, okay, for the Hurt 100 in Hawaii. Now, when we set goals, guys, the universe will test us if we're worthy, if we're serious about them. And it's our job to walk through the door as opportunities present themselves. Now, going to Hawaii, all those excuses and justifications and circumstances that I had said were all still true. Financially, it was going to be tough. Time was going to be tough, and I should be working. But guess where we ended up 2.5 months later? Running the Hurt 100. Which means all of the circumstances that we believe to be truth in our life of why we're not getting what we want, although they are true, we just don't have a high enough reward to get us moving to get there. Everything is possible. And believe me, we made it happen. But it was
Can I ask a question on that?
Circumstances. Yeah.
So you during goal setting and when we talk about goals, you and I, and one of the comments that you made to me and to the group was, if your goal isn't big enough, it creates chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember saying that?
Yep.
Can you explain that to everyone? Because I feel that's pertinent to what you're saying, is because I feel like a lot of us have like goals in mind, but they push us, but they don't push us to the point where, like you were saying, like the Hurt 100 was to you. Like, I want Copper Johns to be X amount of dollars. And then you're like, Tyson, why not this big instead of just this big? And as soon as you said that, all these ideas came in my mind. Well, I need to do this. And then all of a sudden it became clear instead of like the small chaos that it was creating at first. And so I really want you to talk about that, because I feel like a lot of us might not be running Hurt 100 or anything like that, but we are all working and striving to be better. And our goals may be too small. And if I'm jumping ahead, I apologize, but this
I'm
really
jumping back to you.
What you just said really connected to me. And I'm like, I think this might be beneficial for other people to hear.
Yeah, no, I love that question. And I think the best way I can answer it is through a story. Don't judge all my tabs open, okay? But no, I think the best way I can answer it is through story. Many times, because obviously when we look at that, it's like, okay, of course we would want bigger goals, right? Of course we would love $1 million over 50,000. and it's easy to think that way. But the reason I say this, and I say, if our goals create chaos, we're thinking too small. The goal should create clarity. And the bigger the goal, the more clear the path. And there's a book that talks about this, and I would love if any of you guys are looking for to learn more about this. It's called The Science of Scaling by Benjamin Hardy. And but what the book talks about is when you set goals, if they're too small, you have a 2x mentality, which is often very linear. Like, I worked this much last year, and if I just do double that, I'll make double the money, which is true. But what ends up happening is you realize very quickly that time is a finite resource, and that it instantly is just causing you to run on a rat race as fast as you can, hoping something changes. And so it's always just adding more and more and more. And then we wear busy as a badge of honor, as if that's what's making the difference in our life. And the only reason that we think that way is because we're not billionaires. A billionaire, in order to get that far, they're not working that many X times much more than you are. They were so clear and intentional with their path. It forced the clarity towards them to where they had to make certain decisions. Like, for example, and I'll just say this to you, Tyson. So your path to college football, how many different paths are there to college football?
On a team, there's plethora.
There's lots, right?
Like,
there's lots of different teams and training programs and things like that.
That JC, all that, yeah.
Okay. But if I said, hey, Tyson, I want you to be a starter in the NFL, how many paths are there to get there?
One. Like, really.
It gets very clear. You have to go to specific schools with the right coaches, with the right opportunities presenting themselves that are going to put you in the places that are going to make that happen. And that's what I mean, is it shifts the mindset from how do I just do more to how do I get specific and clear on what it is that I want. It forces clarity on the path. And that's what this race was to me, is it started to create clarity in my life to where that, yes, although I had all the excuses, right? There wasn't money, there was all these things, but it created clarity because I knew it was just a part of the path. And so things would work out, and what I had to go out and put myself to the fire to make that happen. Does that make sense?
100% it does. Do you want me to go back to the PowerPoint?
Yes, I want to share a little bit more. How's everyone doing? Is everyone engaged with this? How's the comments?
I think there's people watching, not a lot. We have Vinny and David. David asked a question, and maybe I'll ask that while you're pulling that up. He says, I wonder when we were younger, we can't wait to get older. But now that we're older, we want to be younger again. It's like something in the middle is missing. That's kind of the gap in gain that we were talking about.
Yeah. Well, and to answer that question, what's missing is you. Is that presence with yourself and just feeling like you can be present with yourself, with where you are now, being where your feet are. Because often we're hoping for something to be different or something to change. Whereas when we can learn to truly find presence and alignment with where we're at, when what we do, what we think, and what we say are the same, there's a lot of power there. And I'm going to show you guys what this means. So what I mean by this is, so often in our life, we want to be the younger or older version of us because it's often coming from a place of comparison. We want to be like the people around us. We want to be better. We want to be the best, right? But when you're the best, one thing that I found with being the best is always in a place of comparison. Everybody else in the world is setting your standard. And that's a big problem because it takes away from your own uniqueness. And so there's many different types of standards that we hold as humans. One of the standards is poor standards. And what I mean by poor standards is a lot of times you'll recognize those as people with no clear plan. They complain often and they use justifications. And it's a lot of times the people who will show up, but they're just going with the wind. They don't really have any clear direction or anything they're trying to improve on or grow. They're just simply existing and doing what they need to or should or have to, right? And those are all places of fear, which means one thing that you'll recognize about a poor standard is poor standards get no result. They get nothing because they just continue to run around doing things that have no clear direction or plan in place. But then there's one level up, okay? And this is a good standard. And many of you may identify with this one. Was like you show up, you're checking all the boxes, you clock in, you clock out, you go home, right? And then when you go home, you're checking the boxes of what a good husband is, or what a good spouse, what a good family member or friend is, and then you go home. That's a good standard. But you're just showing up and checking all the boxes. And so what you'll notice about good standards is good standards gets poor results, poor standards gets no result. And the way you'll recognize what someone will say when they have a good standard is like, well, I did everything I was asked to. Like, what more do you want from me? Right? I did
Yeah.
all I asked. And they get something, right? You get poor results, but you're still not getting what you want, which is a frustrating place. And then there's an excellent standard. Now, these are your people who go above and beyond. Like, they're on the rat race. They're working hard every single day. They hold an excellent standard. They go, and these are the way you'll recognize an excellent standard is they're always just trying to add more. They're doing everything. They're going above and beyond. And it's all based on whether or not they're doing more than everybody else. You'll often recognize these people are feeling burnt out and tired because they're just adding more and more and more onto their plate. Okay. And an excellent standard, they get good results, right? Good standards gets poor results. Poor standards gets no results. Okay. But one thing you'll recognize about all three of these is somebody else is setting the standard. Somebody else is telling you who you are and how you need to perform, and you're allowing them to tell you what's possible rather than you setting the direction. And that's where we move into what's an outstanding standard. An outstanding standard is where you are the only. You've created an entirely new category. Like, you're not here to just take part. You're creating something to completely take over, something that doesn't exist. And that the only is you. Like, you are the product. You, like, nobody can follow the path because the path is your path. And it's the unique lessons that you've learned along the way. And all these stories that I've shared with you is from my own unique path and stories that have built me into who I am today and continue to build me. And what it's done is completely created a new category of job that I now get to call my life. And it's something that no one else can follow because even if they wanted to, it is me. And each of you guys have these God-given abilities and uniqueness that you get to bring to the world. And so often we diminish it by allowing other people to set the standard in our life. And one thing you'll recognize about an outstanding standard versus an excellent standard, they still work hard, right? But the difference is an excellent standard is just trying to be the best. And they'll often say, like, what more do you want from me? What more could I be doing? And an outstanding standard says, what could I learn from this? What could I develop? Hey, I don't know that answer. How could I learn it? And it starts to become an infinite game rather than just, here's the excellent, here's what I'm doing above everyone else, and just trying to compete. Like, these guys are always competing on price. They're always just trying to do things a little bit faster or a little bit better. These ones, you create an entirely new category. That's what makes the difference. That's where you start to create a whole new entire level.
I have a question. This was not a question. This was a statement by Donnie.
Okay.
He is 68 years old. And he says, I needed this 40 years ago when I was 28. What do you say to that? I know what I want to say, and I know I want what you want to say, but I want you to say it.
Well, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. But when's the second best time to plant a tree? Today. And there's something that you can learn from this now. There is a unique path that you still have to play. If you're looking at yourself at 40 years old and thinking that you're already overdue and spend, you're going to miss out on the next 50 years of your life, next 60 years of your life. You're not even halfway there yet. There's so much development, and you're still holding an excellent standard, feeling like time is finite. When you move into an outstanding standard, you realize that there is so much for you to offer to the world. And the best time to offer it is now.
I like that. So this is the time where you guys can ask any questions for Brock. You have 20 minutes, and feel free to ask any questions that you might have. Now, I will tell you this. As you were talking, a lot of the things, the emotions that I felt a long time ago, starting with you, where I felt burnt out. I kind of want you to explain to them what you explained to me about how I would escape and figure like if I work harder, everything is going to solve itself. Because I feel like a lot of us, and I do mean most of us, we feel like, oh, I have a bill, I have to work harder so that I can pay that bill. Or hey, I have this problem, I have to do this in order to fix the problem. When all we need, I'll let you answer that question. But that was a huge problem. Sometimes I still fall into that.
Yeah, and it's a very easy one. It's a chase mode, right? It's like a dog with a bone. You're just chasing it until you finally catch it. And then you catch it and then it's not enough and then you got the next bone. And I like to liken it to butterflies. um, if you chase after butterflies, they run. But if you build a garden, they come to you.
Yeah.
And what the garden is you. And often what we're doing when we're trying to work hard and we're trying to always just do more, and obviously that is a part of equation, like discipline is a part of the equation. I'm not discounting that. But what we often do is we try to outwork our own disbelief in ourselves. We're trying to distract, and so we run side to side at 1,000,000 miles an hour, not taking any real steps forward into vulnerability, into risk, into something that could actually cost us. And when we take those steps forward, that's when we truly start to do something meaningful. But what that requires is for us to face ourselves. We got to go build a garden inside of us that we can feel proud of, that we can feel like we belong, right? Like I said at the beginning, nothing will ever be enough until we are enough. And then once you're enough, you have a garden to where your goals literally can't hide themselves from you. They will want so badly to be inside of your presence because of who you are. Money, right? Like we often chase after money thinking that once we have it, that bill will get paid and then all of our problems are going to be solved. But what does money attract itself to? Value. So money follows value. So once you become a person of value, then the money will naturally come because you solve a problem so big that people want to pay you for it. You build a garden and then naturally the butterflies will come to you. The things you want, your goals, they will come into your reality.
So how so Donnie being 60 plus, him wanting to start now but not knowing how to or where to, what's the first step? Like what if it's like just getting out of their head and they have so much anxiety or depression, or and it's not to go work out, it's not to go run, it's just to feel calm and feel at peace with themselves. Where do they start?
I think you can answer that, Tyson. Where did you start?
I want you to though. You're the expert. Well, I'm getting to the point where I'm an expert too, but I want you to answer. You're the,
Tell them, where did you start, Tyson?
um, it was so long ago. I started with you. I started in the gym. I started meditating. I started journaling. I started um truthfully, I think what the biggest impact was is understanding what I really wanted out of life. Like what because I admit, well, I want to be a millionaire. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And that wasn't the real goals. And so really understanding what I really wanted out of life and what I really wanted to achieve and what it was is to have meaning and bring meaning to people. And I felt
What
like
helped
money
you
to do
recognize
that.
that?
What?
What helped you recognize the meaning?
Yeah. How did I?
Yeah.
Okay, so how did I recognize it? Um,
Well, more where? Like what brought that to you?
um, pain. I don't know the answer you're looking for. I apologize, but what I'm going to say
You've already mentioned
is
it, Tyson.
I did. What's that?
If you want to help a hurt dog, you put him in a healthy pack.
Oh, yes,
Guys, if you're
100%.
having a hard time and you're feeling depressed and anxious and you can't feel like you can do it on your own, go find a place where you can. And sometimes you have to pay to get in those rooms. And sometimes you have to, I received some advice. I was in a seminar the other day, and this is something that rang true to me. It is not hard to be a part of people who justify. It is not hard to be a part of groups where they complain. It is not hard to find people who want to just sit in their misery. And so you have to be willing to pay any price and to travel any distance to be a part of rooms where those people who have what you want exist. Because it makes all the difference. You start to put yourself in a healthy pack. Like Tyson said, you'll start to realize just what you're capable of, what you really want, and how to go out and get it. I've paid to get in so many rooms, and not only just paid, but I've also curated an environment where I feel like it's conducive to my growth. And it levels up my standards. It levels up what I think is possible. And it has impacted myself, my family, and now trickles down into Tyson, who runs groups, right? And it's so awesome to see all of the impact and the ripple effect of what it's all about. And if you're having a hard time just getting moving, don't put the pressure on yourself to have to journal, go to the gym, right? Because you know in the back of your head that probably isn't possible. But going and being a part of a community and simply showing up, you can do that. You can start there. And just simply being and existing in that environment will change everything about you.
So David goes, just like working out, it's not what someone new going to say, but it's just walking into the building was hard, and not what they're going to say. It's you versus you.
100%.
I like that, and it's true. I will say this: since joining Category 1, and that's why I wanted you the first is you put yourself in front of people who have such huge aspirations, it's contagious. Who have such positive mindset, it's contagious. To the point where you take it home, you take it to your work, you take it to the people around you, because you are becoming someone different, where you're not feeding off of someone else's light, they're feeding off yours, and you're bringing them up because you're so confident in yourself. And I've noticed that is happening. It's taken a long freaking time. It's not something that goes overnight, but like I said, it's a year and a half in the works, and I'm still building. I still meet with you on a weekly basis because there's always. I love this. I love that what you've said today. I love that it gives everyone hope that, hey, I'm struggling, but I'm okay, and I'm good now. And like, there's wins. What you were saying today, I just think it was amazing. So, anyone have questions? I feel like I'm ruining it.
Oh, I love it, Tyson. Thank you. Well, it's just there's so many lies that our brain tries to tell us when we're in a hard spot. Like for any of you that are in a hard spot right now, just to speak directly to you, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling like you can't, just know the biggest lies that your brain tries to tell you is one, that you're all alone, two, that nobody understands, and three, that it's not possible and it'll last forever. Those are the biggest lies that our brain tells us, and it tries to chirp those in our ears. And I want you to know that I felt that, Tyson's felt that, and everybody feels those things. But they're not true. You have to trust in the fact of your vision, of your dreams, and gain clarity there, because that's where you can truly develop something unique and something special. That's you. That's where you can be the only. Like, rather than trying to be the best, be the only. Allow your own uniqueness to speak for you, because that's where I was able to gain deeper relationships with my wife, with my family, with the people who were truly cheering me on, to be a part of environments where I am around people who are truly excelling and pushing themselves and trying to do something extraordinary. And raise those standards. Like, those rooms are not always easy to get into, because they're a lot of times they protect their peace, and as you should as well. But once you're there, it's so amazing because they can run so deep. And I think, like, that's what I really wanted to curate for people, and give an environment where, there is such a high standard that they can naturally fall into it. I have a 2-year-old son, and if any of you guys have kids, like, my mission in this life, the whole reason I started this in the first place was to allow him to exist in an environment where the standard is so high, like, he doesn't know the difference. He only knows and understands an outstanding standard. Comparison is just not in his vocabulary. And you do that by exposure, not by teaching, not by words, not by trying to prove yourself or convince people of how great you are or what you're doing, but by simply existing by your example. Like, people should be able to look at your life with the sound turned down and know exactly who you are. And if they can't do that, then you need to adjust what your standards are.
Mm. So, Brandon, he goes, funny thing is, I am in those rooms and meetings at work with the VPs and CEO. I just look at that and think how I feel like I don't belong, being so young in my leadership journey. And Miles goes, I joined a gym with dudes getting after it, and I'm one of those dudes getting after it. So I
Love
want to tell Brandon first. I have felt this way my first X room.
Yeah.
I was so intimidated with the people that you see on TV. You see these people like Dan, PC laptops, and you see all these guys and how successful they are. They're millionaires, they're billionaires, and you're just like, I don't belong here. And now, as I've grown to know them and talk to them, I'm like, I do belong here. We all like it's amazing, and it's really true. Like you really are. You have to get out of your own way. And then this, I have felt this, Miles. I have 100% felt. I talked to Brock about this. Like I have a hard time just wearing shirts that fit me because I'm embarrassed. Because I still feel like my body is really large, and so it's just I feel this and I get this, and it's that's a really good point, guys. I really enjoy you guys' comments.
Yeah. And just to speak to the CEO one, don't be intimidated by the labels. They don't mean as much as you think. At the end of the day, we're all people and we're all just trying to do our best that we can. And understanding what that is truly what makes the difference. But sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves and pressure on labels that there's a sense of perfection. And in that, just recognize that you're still in a place of an excellent standard and allowing other people to set what's awesome for you. When you truly know that you are whole as you are, then you can exist in any room because you understand that there's a unique value that you can bring to anybody, anywhere, at any time, no matter how young you are, because your experiences are yours. And that's what gives you a unique value everywhere you go. And once you truly understand and develop that, that's where the beauty starts to happen.
Sergey's in Ireland. He's a stud. When I hear Brock talk about stuff, no matter what it is, there's a part of me that wants to be able to be like Brock, but I don't know where to start. What are the building blocks to get your mindset?
So I
Johnny
just
goes, run 100 miles.
the point of this isn't to be Brock.
Ooh,
I,
love
I
that.
I just hope that my story helps you see the uniqueness in you, because I hope that you could relate to part of it in ways that I've overcome. But where to start? Like I said, if you're hurt, if you're feeling like you're not able to get going, find a healthy pack. Find people that you can surround yourself with that will naturally make what you want normal. You're normal, that you don't know anyone else. Because right now your standards, like your environment probably isn't conducive to the growth that you're wanting. And so it's going out and building it and creating it. And I would start there. Go find people who have and are doing what you want, and go find a way to get in the rooms. Go find a way to get to know them. And it's not like mentor or someone older. It can be people your age that are even just trying, but they have the mindset. And that's what makes all the difference. You start there, and then slowly you'll start to develop and grow. Every 100-mile race starts with one step, and all it takes is one act of courage to just go out and try.
Yeah, he goes, I had to grow uncomfortable to grow. It was scary. Now it's the norm. What's the next challenge?
There we go, Miles.
So we're getting to the point where it's been that hour. So I was just seeing, give you one more chance. Is there anything that you would like to explain one more time or cover?
So one thing that I'm recognizing as a common trend with what you're experiencing, I want to define the word perfection. Okay, because often when we look at the word perfection, we think perform without error. Like I don't want to get things wrong. Okay, and we put that label on it. But what I define perfection as doing the best with the knowledge and abilities that you have available. Like think of the coolest, most awesome thing that you could possibly do right now and start there. And I promise you it will start a snowball. Okay? Because often what we do is we get in perfection and we try to perform without error. And then we just continually get hit in the face, experiencing the same problems over and over and over again, and we don't learn. Like, how do I define learning? Same conditions, new behavior. Okay? Now, you are going to leave this call and be in the same conditions you were when you started it. Go do some new behavior. Learn something. Don't go back and be the same. Don't allow yourself to return back to where you started and be the same. Otherwise, this hour of this call, you should have stayed off of it. Allow yourself to go be different, okay? And then what I define as intelligence is rate of learning, right? If I get hit in the face and then someone tries to hit me 2 times, I'm probably going to try to dodge or stop the punch. But so often when we're not getting hit in the face, but it's just life, we just believe it's normal. We just allow ourselves to keep getting hit over and over and over again, doing nothing about it. Go do the best with the knowledge and abilities that you have available, not based on what Tyson is doing or what I'm doing, but on what you can think is best. Start there. And from there, learn quickly. Same conditions, new behavior, continue to evolve. What works, what didn't, and then do it quicker. and as you do that, you'll learn something. You'll go a really long ways.
Nah, this has been really fun. I'm grateful that you were willing to come on here, guys. He does keynote speeches all the time. He knows what he's talking about. He talks to hundreds of people. He does a lot of training sessions. He's helped me, like I said, in all areas of my life. And so if just like what is scrolling in the on the bottom, if something that Brock that he shared resonated with you, you guys can feel free to reach out to him on Instagram and he will answer you. It's Brock Painter Official. And can they join Category 1 even if they're not in Utah?
Yeah, especially like if you're looking for workout programs, nutrition plans. We also do, if you are in Utah, we do have a community based of entrepreneurs where we do provide the environment to help with the growth. And then we also, I do provide one-on-one sessions. My background is in psychology and neuroscience. Sad to say, it's not necessarily an ultramarathons. That's as you can see, it's a new journey, but my passion is in mental and physical transformations. And so, yeah, any way we can be of support to you, please reach out. We would love to chat.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you on Friday, where we talk about all things beard and grooming. So, thank you guys, and and Brock, thank you so much, and everyone have a wonderful night, and we'll see you guys Friday. Oh, and I'll be doing a live Friday night after the live with all the members to create the scent of the month. Just remember that. Take care, guys.